In this example, we're being given a table of values up above for both f of x and f prime of x, and then g of x and g prime of x at a singular specific x value of 1. And then they're talking to us about this h of x equation. And the question wants to know, what is the derivative of h at that point 1? So to do this, we will need to find the derivative of the h equation. So looking at h right now, finding that derivative, we can see that we have two things being divided. And whenever you've got two things being divided, that's when you need to apply your quotient rule. So you should have a recipe, a formula that you follow for the quotient rule, product rule, chain rule that you can just dump out of your brain in 2 seconds. My recipe for the quotient rule goes low, D high, minus high, D low, and all of that is over the low squared. So I label the top piece the high piece, the bottom piece the low piece, and then I go find the D high, which is the derivative of the high, and I go find the D low, which is the derivative of the low. So if I kind of break these out into their bite-sized little math problems, the high is f of x, the low is g of x. Well, to get my d high, the derivative of the high, this is really just a notation game. The derivative of f of x is f prime of x. To grab my d low, again, just a notation game. The derivative of g of x would be g prime of x. So now that I've got what I call all of my ingredients, I am now ready to follow my quotient rule recipe. So we'll put all these pieces back together following our quotient rule. So our derivative here is going to equal low g of x, d high, f prime of x, minus high f of x times d low g prime of x, and all of that is over the low g of x squared. So there's our derivative, and now they want us to find specifically what's happening at h prime of 1. So now what we do is we take, and wherever I replaced x with 1, and so everywhere I see an x in my equation, my derivative, I'm also going to replace that with 1. So I get g of 1 times f prime of 1 minus f of 1 times g prime of 1, and all of that is over g of 1 squared. And then this is where the table comes in. So now we'll just use our table of values from up above to fill in actual numbers here. So g of 1, the g value at 1 is 8. Then we're going to multiply that by f prime of 1. The derivative of f at 1 is negative 6. Minus, go grab f of 1. So f at 1 is 5. And then multiply that by g prime of 1. So g prime at 1 is pi. And then on the bottom here, we've got g of 1 again. That was what we got out here. That was 8 squared. So now we'll clean this up. We get negative 6 times 8 is going to get us negative 48 minus 5 pi. And on the bottom, 8 squared is 64. When you do this, you would want to look and see if you could factor anything out of these two things right here. The only thing you could really factor out would be a negative 1, and that's really not going to reduce our fractions or change things up. So this is going to be our answer. And if we look, that is option C. So this was a pretty straightforward quotient rule problem. We just needed to use the table of values to figure out what our values were at that specific x value of 1. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that like button and subscribe. And also share it with your friends and anyone else you know who might be crying about an upcoming AP Calc test. You can find more videos from me, more sample AP Calc questions, and my complete AP Calc study guide over at my website, apcalcprep.com. Have a great one.